Hey, Problem Stacks Kids, this is Dr. Callahan with Week 5 Friday. How are you guys doing? Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions for your warm-up log. Okay, let's go ahead and start the assignment for today. Today is for Week 5 Friday, and our topic of discussion is going to be on using the t-table to find the t-value, and we're going to compare that with the alpha. Before we kind of use the z-value to get the p-value to compare with alpha, but today we're going to be doing something different. So it's a new area. So then the 2 links that you guys need today are going to be one for the Google Doc, the other one is for the YouTube channel. And your task today is to make sure you view the assignment, make sure you watch the video in its entirety, and then upload your assignment onto MS Team. So for 5th period, make sure you check in with me by 1:19 for Friday, and 6th period, make sure you check in with me by 2:20 p.m. And this is going to be for 2 classes. And make sure you just check in with me by 2:20 p.m. because generally that's when I will be taking attendance for that. If you do check in with me after 2:20 p.m., you can still email me and let me know. But if you don't do that, then just keep in mind that you will be marked absent. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get started with today's stuff. This is a breakdown of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to use 7.3 day 1. It's a new section. Use the t-table to find the t-value and compare with alpha. We're going to go over examples 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to go over objective number 11 on page 22 on your own. Your homework tonight is going to be for Week 5 Friday for number 4 to 8 evens, and then of course you have number 16 as well. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and read the objectives for today. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this for a little bit. How is a t distribution different than a z distribution? When is each one used? Just keep in mind that a t distribution, you use it when the population standard deviation is unknown. Like when we did the z distribution, we had the z equals x bar minus the mean over standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. Remember that from yesterday? Well, if I don't know what the standard deviation is, so question mark over the standard deviation, then you will use the t-table, which is what we're going to do today. And also the sample size has to be less than 30, so it can't be exceeding 30. And of course, it has to be a sample standard deviation. All right, so let's take a look at this. When we conduct a hypothesis test for p-value with a t-distribution, this is called a t-distribution. We use a rejection region and the critical values. And here are some of the steps to find the critical values in a t-distribution. So you have to identify the level of significance. Here's the alpha, and this is the alpha symbol. Identify the degree of freedom. Degree of freedom is equal to the number of the sample size minus 1. And of course, you have to sketch a diagram with a bell curve. 4th step, find the critical value using the table 5 and appendix 5 or appendix B, which is also included with us today. In the row with the n minus 1 degree of freedom, if the hypothesis test is, and there are 3 conditions. If it's in the left tail, you use a 1 tail alpha column with a negative sign. If it's a right tail or 1 tail alpha, use a column with a positive sign. And of course, if it's going to be a two-tailed, then you're going to use a column with a minus and a positive sign. Now let's go ahead and take a look at example 1. It says find the critical value t sub 0 for a left tail. So you automatically, you're going to use a negative for alpha equals 0.05 and n equals 21. So step number 1, what you're going to do is going to find the alpha value, and it's given to you the alpha is 0.05. It's also given to you that you're going to use the left tail. Step number 2, you want to find the degree of freedom. So that's going to be n minus 1. Your n is less than 30, which is good, and it's 21. So it's 21 minus 1. Your degree of freedom equals 20. Next, we need to go ahead and draw the picture for this. So here is my bell curve. This right here on the left side, and we're going to label it, is going to be your alpha equals 0.05. It is also going to be 0 right here in the middle. And the region that's going to be on the yellow portion, or the right side of the left tail, is going to be the region where it is fail to reject region, reject the null hypothesis. All right, so with those information, let's go ahead and take a look at your table then. So here is your table. Remember, your alpha is 0.05. It is a one-tailed. Your degree of freedom is 20. So I'm going to scooch over here, go down, and it's given to me that my t-value is 1.725. But remember, because it's a left-tailed, it's going to be a negative answer. So it's a negative 1.725. All right, so then going on to step number 4, you know that your t-value, which is right here, is negative 1.725, and then that is it. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at step number, or example 2. Example 2 says find the critical value t sub 0 and negative t sub 0 for a two-tailed. Remember, there's a positive and a minus. Given that the alpha is 0.05 with a sample size of 26. So looking at this here, my alpha is going to be 0.05, and you think that would be it, but guess what? Because it is a two-tailed, you have to take the alpha of 0.05 divided by 2, which technically gives you an alpha of 0.025. So make sure you do that. Number 2, or step 2, your degree of freedom is n minus 1. So that's going to be 26 minus 1, so that's 25. Step 3, you want to go ahead and draw your bell curve. We're going to go ahead and label, this is your t equals a negative, this is your t equals a positive region. And within this region, we're going to label it as the reject area. So it's going to be this side here and this piece right there. And then, of course, the spaces in between is going to be the fail to reject region. So step number 4, I'm going to go ahead and figure out what is my t-value. So I know it is going to be at 0.05 for the two-tailed, and it is at the degree of freedom of 25. So you're at 0.06 or 2.06. So that's going to be 2.06 with a negative and a positive 2.06. And that is your answer. All right, so let's go ahead and do a conducting of the t-test for mean. So if you take a look at this, there are 6 steps. State the hypothesis, so that's a null hypothesis, and the alternative. Tell me what is your degree of freedom and the alpha level. The critical value, sketch the rejection region, which is step 3. And then lastly, or excuse me, number 4, find the standardized test, which is a t-score. And that is t is equal to x bar minus u over s. Notice that you don't have a standard deviation here, divided by the square root of n. Then make your decision to reject or fail to reject and interpret your decision. Okay, so take a look at example 3. It says a used car dealer says that the mean price of a 2005 Honda Pilot LX is $23,900. You are suspecting this claim is incorrect. You want to find that a random sample of 14 different similar vehicles has a mean price of $23,000 and a standard deviation of $1,113. Assuming that there is enough evidence to reject the dealer's claim at 0.05 alpha. So let's take a look at this. Now, you always want to write down your null hypothesis and your alpha, or excuse me, and your alternative hypothesis first. You want to look at the claim, and what is the claim saying? The claim is saying that a Honda Pilot is at least $23,900. So that means at least is, it could be bigger or more, but it can't be less, okay? So then your alternative hypothesis, or excuse me, your null hypothesis is going to be u is greater or equal to 23,900. Your alternative hypothesis is going to be less than 23,900. Step 2, the alpha level is at 0.05. Your degree of freedom is going to be 14 similar vehicles, which is going to give you a 13. Step 3, you need to find the components of everything that we've listed. So that includes n equals 14, x bar, which is going to be the mean price of the car. And if you look at this, remember you have a mean price of 23,900 or 23,000. Well, for this one, it is going to be the actual mean price of the car of the 14 vehicles, which in this case is 23,000. And then of course, you also need to have the U, which is going to stand for the mean of the claim, which is 23,900. All right, so now that you have these information, let's plug it into your equation. T equals x bar minus u. So that's 23,900 minus 23,000 divided by s. Now, if you look at this, what is your s? Your s, or your standard deviation, is 1,113 minus the square root, or not minus, but divide by the square root of the 14 vehicles. So with your calculator, the numerator is going to have negative 900. Your denominator, square root of 14, plug that into your calculator, and then take 1,113 divided by that square root, which is going to give you 297.5. And if you divide it, you should have a negative 3.026. This right here is your t-value. Step number 4, I want to go ahead and draw a picture so I can see how this looks. Now, negative 3.026 is right there on the left side. I need to find my t-value. It's also given to me my degree of freedom is going to be 13. My alpha is equal to 0.05. So let's go ahead and take a look to see where this is going to be. So at 0.05, degree freedom of 13, I know that this is just a one-tailed. It is going to be at 1.771. And also it's a negative because it's on the left side. So negative 1.771. So then at this point, you look at this and you ask yourself, do I reject or fail to reject? And looking at this part right here, there is enough evidence to reject the T or reject the claim and the null hypothesis that the average cost of a Honda Pilot is greater than or equal to 23,900 because the real cost is obviously less than that. All right, you guys, that is basically it. So now what I want you guys to do is you try one on your own. So go over here to objective number 11 and go ahead and answer questions A and B. Pause the video to do that. And if you're done with it, you can go ahead and take a look at my answers here. Sorry, I'm not quite sure why this background keeps disappearing, which is kind of odd. So I'm going to check my animation pane to see if something is perhaps making it do that. I don't understand why it's doing that. That's just weird. All right, you guys, with that said, let's go on to the next part of today's stuff. Take a look over here. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys take a quick little quiz. Just go ahead and go on to this link. It says, what type of student are you? You're going to take this quiz on here, and it's going to take you to this page. And when you're done with it, go ahead and write down the responses for me. Specifically summarize your results. You agree or disagree with the results. Are you the ideal students? What can you work on to improve list 5? And your exit ticket is you create an exit ticket that I can use for this class in the future. Your homework is posted right here. Make sure you go to week 5 Friday. As always, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.